What if I told you that you have actually been eating fake foods every day? And guys, I'm not even kidding. Most of the fresh groceries in your pantries right now that you are so proud of are not what you think. I've been doing a lot of digging and got a big scoop on some dangerous culinary imposters that often hide in plain sight at our local grocery stores. Trust me, when you are done watching the revelations in this video, your grocery shopping spree might never look the same again. So, grab a seat, take your feet up, and relax as we navigate the aisle of food truths together. But while you're at it, I've got a quick question for you. Number 1. Blueberry products. Do you know anyone who doesn't like blueberries? Yeah, I can't name one either. Having a burst of blueberry goodness dance on your taste buds with every bite is an elite feeling. But yet, it's a product that you should never be stockpiling. Yeah, you heard right. Almost every blueberry product comes with a sweet deception, something I would like to call a classic case of bait and switch. Instead of delivering to customers the expected antioxidant-rich berries, these products are actually blueberry shams, a cunning blend of corn syrup, starch, sugar, hydrogenated oil, artificial flavors, and, of course, an undeniable shade of blue dye. After all, what's a blueberry without blue? Nevertheless, in case you are currently wondering why these companies are delivering the wrong thing instead of being genuine, the truth is that I have no idea. But in any case, one thing that I'm sure about is that they are willfully putting in imposter blueberries in the hope that we customers won't notice the subtle switcheroo, but they are so wrong. And now that you know their faux blueberry ploy, always do what is necessary to ensure it won't slip right past your discerning eyes. So the next time you craft your stockpile list, make sure you scrutinize labels and demand authenticity for any blueberry product. Number 2. Crab sticks. And speaking of scrutiny, you might want to clean your magnifying glasses and ensure that your tinfoil hats stay on, because you will not believe how companies have been getting away with the second item on our list, which are the so-called crab sticks. Have you ever considered why these imitation crabs are considerably cheaper than the actual crustaceans? Ding ding ding, we have a winner. It is because they are nothing more than fishy versions of hot dogs. I don't know if you have ever seen how these crab sticks are made, but basically they mix and mash all kinds of different fish and then sprinkle in some starch, which usually comes from corn, wheat, potatoes, and surprisingly enough, tapiocas. And after that, they are spiced up with MSGs or glutamates for that flavorful punch. But hey, are you still skeptical about our little expose? To make these crab sticks taste like crab, they have to throw in some nice crab flavoring along with some protein boosters like egg white or soy protein, and then sugar and soy vegetable oils to make it all cohesive. Because one is done, they then proceed to the final piece of the jigsaw puzzle, which is a touch of coloring to give off that amazing fresh from the ocean look that you might have fallen for in the past, but not anymore because you are now caught up with their imitative practices, right? Right? Number 3. Fake tuna. But guess what? Number 3 gets even scarier. Preppers, did you know that up to 74% of the tuna served in sushi restaurants isn't actually real tuna? Back in 2013, Oceana, a nonprofit organization, undertook a straightforward investigation that encompassed various fish types. However, the key finding of their research focused on tuna, revealing that it often did not match its labeled identity. Surprisingly, grocery stores exhibited the highest accuracy, correctly labeling 82% of their products. But alas, while sushi serving restaurants, among others, achieved only a 62% success rate, making things worse was the fact that exclusive sushi establishments lagged behind significantly, boasting only a 26% accuracy rate. 3 years later, President Obama tried to put an end to the con by demanding at least 25% of imported seafood had to be traced back to the boat on which it was caught. But while that may have taken things down a notch or two, the problem is that it still exists today, and make no mistake, fake tuna or escolar is a big problem that can make you pretty sick. But here's where things get wilder. Back in 1977, Japan banned escolar, citing valid toxicity concerns. But to be fair, the side effects of eating too much escolar are pretty scary. Only 6 ounces can give you diarrhea and anal leakage. So the next time you buy a cheap can of tuna and notice it is really white, have it in the back of your mind that it might be, in fact, not tuna. Number 4. Fake steak. And if you thought you were safe because you don't like the fish, you might want to rethink that, because some restaurants, in a bid to save a couple of Benjamins or get creative, have taken to patching up pieces of meat with a fancy meat glue called transglutaminase, and yeah, there is a big reason to be worried about it. First off, the makers will never actually admit this to customers openly, but the entire process of making the meat involves a whole lot of handling, which means more chances for bacteria to seep into the meat and get into our bodies when we eat it. And guess what? Things are actually deteriorating quickly. At first, the makers of steak preferred to use blood plasma from animals like pigs and cows, but now it's a different ballgame. They are now using unhygienic practices like fermenting bacteria to churn out the enzymes needed for this adhesive, and yeah, this could make you sick. So just like the other foods we have discussed so far, always have it in the back of your mind that you might not be eating healthy. In this case, the next time you're dining out and about to eat what seems like a juicy steak on your plate, either alone or with friends or your significant other, it might be worth asking yourself if it's genuine. Number 5. Extra virgin olive oil. But alright folks, let's dive right into the slippery world of extra virgin olive oil, because believe me when I tell you that it is a pretty wild ride. Similarly to the Tuna con, about 8% of those bottles sporting the extra virgin label are not actually what they are claimed to be. And, as a matter of fact, many of the imposters on the shelf aren't even pure olive oil to start with. And guys, if you're going to be spending your hard-earned money on a stockpile, the least you deserve is getting the real deal. Those extra virgin shams are often mixed with oils like canola and other mystery blends of oil that have been heated and stripped of nutrients, which obviously isn't what they claim to be on the label. So ask yourself this: do you want a pantry filled with lackluster liquid pretending to be the elixir of the Mediterranean, or the genuine antioxidant-packed product that is actually certified? The choice is yours, friends. Number 6. Maple syrup. But buckle up, because cruising at number 6 is everyone's favorite breakfast superstar, maple syrup. Guys, do you remember that beautiful feeling you get when you have freshly made waffles and pancakes dripping in a no-holds-barred amount of pure maple sap sweetness? Ah, so good! But alas, here's why you shouldn't be stockpiling. Just like all the foods that we have discussed in this video so far, maple syrup is no stranger to pesky impersonations. As a matter of fact, a significant chunk of those commercial maple syrups you find lining the shelves are far from the real deal. You see, instead of tapping into the goodness of actual tree sap, some companies prefer to take a shortcut. They whip up a concoction using dark brown sugar or refined white sugar, throw in a dash of maple flavoring, and voila! They have made themselves a pseudo maple syrup that might lack the authenticity and appeal you hope for. But brace yourselves for the dreaded guest appearance of high fructose corn syrup in some of these knockoff brands. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for culinary adventures, but when it comes to maple syrup, purity is a non-negotiable metric. Number 7. Orange juice. And speaking of gulping down a delicious nectar, can we finally admit that orange juice is one of the goats in the world of juices? From a satisfying taste to a rich flavor, orange juice is everything you could possibly need and more. But here's the thing. Not all freshly squeezed juices we see on our TV screens are actually what they seem. Contrary to what you might think, the truth of the matter is that many, if not most, of the juices are actually stored in colossal storage tanks for months on end. And of course, to make sure they don't go bad during that drawn-out vacation, they have to strip away oxygen from it, which not only significantly reduces its fresh taste, but also makes it a flavorless liquid with a sunset yellow color. The only reason why those juices still have that orangey taste is that before making their journey to your breakfast table, they get a little pick-me-up boost in a form of orange flavor packets. Yes, you heard it right. Engineered bursts of orange essence are designed to give your juice a facelift and make it taste as fresh as if it were just squeezed from the fruit. Shocking, right? So next time you take a sip, remember that the freshly squeezed tag might not be as fresh from the tree as you hoped. Number 8. White chocolate. Buckle up, preppers, because our next culinary cautionary tale revolves around the seemingly innocent delight known as white chocolate. Now, don't let the name fool you, this one's a bit of a rebel in the chocolate family. Because while traditional chocolate flaunts its cocoa solids, our creamy pale friend here prefers to take a detour. And we're not talking no cocoa solids in the mix. Instead, you are getting a dance of cocoa butter, sugar, and milk products. But while this composition isn't inherently sinful, the major challenge arises when certain brands decide to cut corners. You see, in the more commercial chocolate scene, some brands get a bit stingy with the cocoa butter, opting for cheaper alternatives like affordable fats, resulting in an improvised version that just feels a bit too waxy when eaten. And here's where things get worse. Because the FDA doesn't lay down strict guidelines for what qualifies as white chocolate, brands can tiptoe around definitions, making it easy to blur the lines between the real deal and the imitations. Number 9. Parmesan cheese. But while that's a true sad story, it can't get any worse than the tale of Parmesan cheese, which, spoiler alert, the FDA once again is kind of responsible for. Because as surprising as it sounds, what's frequently being served in the US isn't pure Parmesan, but a concoction of more budget-friendly cheeses like cheddar or even powdered mozzarella. And it gets even wilder. Did you know that some Parmesan imitations throw in added cellulose, which is basically wood pulp, and mold inhibitors? And to make things worse, the FDA, which is supposed to be against this kind of stuff, is actually still giving the green light to sell this Parmesan because of the loophole that cellulose is derived from natural sources. And given how this cellulose makes up to 20% of the product, it's kind of a shocker. That's right, nearly a fifth of what you generously sprinkle on your spaghetti could be wood. Scary, isn't it? So while this sneaky strategy and loophole saves these companies a lot of money, it is far from a win for customers like you and me, who just want some rich and authentic Parmesan goodness. Number 10. Instant coffee. According to a recent study, the average American spends up to $2,000 a year on coffee alone, which makes a lot of sense because Starbucks, the king and queen of everyone's favorite way to start the morning, cashes in tons of cash annually. In 2022 alone, the firm generated a revenue of $32.3 billion, and it's safe to say that the trend may not be ending anytime soon because, from the bustling urbanite to the suburban commuter, the average American doesn't just drink coffee, they practically dance with it daily. Which is why it hurts to say that instant coffee is the 10th revelation on the list of foods that you should not be stockpiling. But of course, I've got some big reasons for this. Contrary to popular belief, instant coffee isn't just a quick caffeine fix. It's more of a secret association of unexpected extras, ranging from starch to cereal, caramel, starch, malt, and even figs. You name it! And it actually gets worse because of acrylamide, a chemical produced during coffee bean roasting. Clueless about what it does to the body when consumed, you might want to grab a chair. Regular acrylamide consumption has been linked not only to nervous system concerns, but also has been shown to heighten the risk of certain cancers. So, while the occasional instant coffee may not rattle your coffee mug, it's worth pondering if it should be your daily go-to. Number 11. Brown sugar. And speaking of coffee and daily go-tos, let's delve into the sweet world of brown sugar and why, despite its delightful taste, it might not be the prepper's best friend. Right off the bat though, I'm just going to put it out there that brown sugars are quite safe from the shady dealings of manufacturers and brands as we've seen so far in today's videos. The only reason why brown sugar shouldn't be on your stockpile list is actually more surprising than you'll think. And no, it is not because it goes bad quickly. Just like white sugar, brown sugar can typically last indefinitely, but alas, they have this notorious and definitely annoying tendency to transform into an unyielding rock over time. Imagine this scenario. You wake up in the morning and head off to the kitchen to set yourself up with a nice cup of coffee. Then, you reach for that brown sugar as a sweetener only to discover it's evolved into an impenetrable sugar fortress as hard as a diamond. It's going to be a vibe killer, right? And even if you love the taste of brown sugar, there is a smart solution. Instead of stockpiling brown sugar directly, consider stashing away white sugar and molasses separately. Why? Because when the time comes, you can play kitchen chemist and concoct your own fresh brown sugar by blending 1 tablespoon of molasses with 1 cup of white sugar. It's kind of like a DIY magic trick that ensures you always have the right sweetness on hand. Plus, by opting for this 2-part storage approach, you can ensure that 1, all your prepping endeavors stay sweet, and 2, that you can have your sweetened thoughts come to life without any unexpected hiccups. Number 12. Eggs. And last but not least, let's crack into the truth about storing eggs. A surprising kitchen conundrum that challenges even the most seasoned preppers from time to time. Despite the fact that eggs are one of the best sources of protein on the planet, the truth is that in their raw form they utterly defy conventional storage methods. Canning or freezing them is a no-go, and their shelf life, even when fresh and refrigerated, barely extends beyond a month. Now, here's where the plot thickens and smart prepping takes the stage. Enter dried egg products, the savvy protein heroes of your survival pantry. Apart from the fact that these guys aren't some notorious imposters like crab sticks and blueberry products, for instance, these gems provide a workaround, extending the shelf life of eggs without compromising their versatility. And the icing on the cake? You're not compromising on quality as well. So just imagine having the flexibility to use these powdered wonders in various recipes, or whip up a quick batch of scrambled eggs for breakfast. However, having chickens in your backyard is also a stellar alternative. They can provide meat and an infinite supply of eggs if you decide to let them keep reproducing. So, whether you're a prepping enthusiast or just someone who appreciates a good omelet, consider the versatility of dried egg products or rearing chickens instead. They might just be the exquisite solution to keeping your culinary options wide open when the raw form of this essential ingredient falls short in the storage game. That said, if you found this video to be amazing and helpful as a prepper, make sure that you smash that like button. And hey, how about you do yourself a favor by subscribing to our channel and hitting the post notification button so you'll be the first to know when we dish out more knowledge by diving deep into the waters of culinary secrets.